other way, you know, just have the tank on the top, and gravity fed into here, and then this went out to the little valve for your control handle. Then you had a couple little tubes at the bottom of the yeah, of some sort. Not real familiar with how close it is. Other than what you saw.
Well, I mean, essentially, you run power through and it gets cold.
Right.
I mean, but you control it.
I don't know if it freezes up if you keep it on too long.
Okay. Why am I not finding this?
They make little coolers that you can buy and plug into your car.
I'm trying to share this and I can't find the freaking thing that. Oh, here we go.
The string key?
Yeah, here we go. No, I'm looking for this to share it before I. It'd be nice if we had it to where.
Do it auto post?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a way. I bet there's a bot for it that when this goes live, posts this.
Yeah.
See how long it takes. 10 seconds.
Ryan, what size of water cooling line do I need to hook up to the radio to?
I have no idea.
You didn't hook that up? That was already up.
It was already up there, yeah. There's a little bit coming out back here, though. I don't know what size it is, but it's latex.
Yeah, it's still no.
I don't think latex, but the silicone would probably work.
Yeah. Something that's real flexible.
I have the safety information. No one can say,
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. It looks like it's
Too much information.
I think so too. Right? It's a little bit of an overload.
Get a hang of all those factors, right?
That's what we were saying. The problem is how do we attach it to the brick?
We're creative.
That's true. Do we have like a sheet of foam board?
It won't take much to cardboard. You know, you just put a little nail in it. Big nail.
Right into the mortar.
Not into the brick. Walk it to brick. Just put it in the mortar. See all the holes? Piece of cardboard there. See all the holes in the mortar?
See it?
Funny if
I don't know if this all it's all.
I think you'd be happy that you're doing that.
Nah, you'd be surprised. Hey, grab me. Or if you have that grabs. Johnny.
Where's there anything grabbed up from Half-Life?
Oh, here, Ryan. Get all that on one big piece of get some piece of wood or a piece of plywood or something, and hang it up from. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think cardboard would be better because it's like cardboard or something, or that plastic corrugated stuff that looks like cardboard or plastic. Yeah. That's actually we have information on cutting that stuff right on here.
Somebody want to hold the end of this while I turn on the power?
It's not my tongue.
Yeah, put it on your tongue.
Just the high voltage.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a pass on that.
Well, wait, is there two wires there or one?
This one. This is the anode.
It'll just jump to ground.
You
Yeah, switch one wire out. Oh, this is the switch one is off.
kind of push it on. What you don't do is solder it.
We found a bad way or the good way in advance?
Sorry, right there. How does something go?
Okay.
Is this some sort of push on connector?
I don't know. Good question. I think you push it on, it's off.
Are you gonna try and
Grip it on it.
put the tube in?
What?
Are try and put the tube in?
No, not now. I want to get everything ready to be able to fire the tube, which means I have to get the cooling system working, which means I need water lines the right size.
Oh, that's the water pump?
This is all I
That's
know,
what it should be.
Oh, okay.
but where's the tube? Oh, the tube is up in the box. I know
The tube is how big it's supposed to be.
looks like it's like 3/8. I know what the tube I have.
On the product page, it should say, so if you go to light object, it should say.
Should, shouldn't it?
Oh, it doesn't?
Nice.
They do sell tubing to use with laser tubes.
See what size that is?
Yeah, it's something like
That's kind of what I meant.
12 by 8. I don't know.
Alright. You guys ready to listen to me blabber on?
No.
Alright.
That's like, fuck this noise.
Alright, so I'm going to talk here on the microphone so that the computer can hear. Alright, welcome to Pet Night, even though it's only, 6 of us? Yeah, right? Mini Pet Night, right? Alright, so I am hopefully not going to do one next time. I'm trying to get somebody outside of the Makerspace to come in and give a tech talk at the next Pet Night, which is, I think it's like 2 weeks after we get back from Rep Rat Fest. But anyways, tonight I'm going to give you some tips on personal web security. So how to keep yourself safe, especially since everybody has accounts on the web now. I'm trying to find a place for my mouse to work actually decently, and I'm obviously clicking ahead. Alright, so I'm going to run through, I think I have like 8 of these of things to do. Alright, first off, never give out your password to anybody.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? So I'm just as guilty. Logan can attest to this.
You want to qualify that, never give out a password that you give a shit about.
Yeah. Yeah, right? So it's like, so I was searching around on the internet and I found like some things like tips and tricks on web security. And it says, oh yeah, give it out to kids. But be careful, kids are the exception. I'm like, well, kids can give it out just as easily as you can give it out. So be careful with that. And then also, there's a difference between, in my opinion, there's a difference between unique passwords and cross-site passwords. So I'm going to get to kind of like in another slide or two. Unique passwords is like, I'm using this password only on this site, and this is the only place I ever use it. So like the password I gave Logan, he can try that on all the other sites that I have my accounts on. If anything, it's just going to lock me up on all my other sites. So versus cross-site is like using the same password over and over and over again, which I will get to. Don't use the same password for everything. If my exclamation points prove anything here, it's don't use the same password for everything. So I'm going to throw Joe under the bus here. It's alright, he's not here, he can't defend himself. So I know Joe's password for pretty much everything. So, one, Joe uses the same, Joe's going to hate me again. Joe uses the same password for everything. So, if I have his password, I can pretty much figure out all the variations of his password just based on just replacing some of the letters that are in there with special characters. And he's probably met the minimum requirements on some of the sites out there. So, don't use the same password for everything. Try to make different variations of your password if you really are adamant on using the same password for everything. But even then, it can be easily hacked. I could probably figure it out in some way, shape, or form. If you gave me the password and I found out one version of it, I could probably figure out other versions of it too. So, if the previous exclamation points weren't enough for you, here's some more. Get the point. So, don't use the same password. And exclamation points, trust me, if you're using an exclamation point, I could probably, most hackers, an exclamation point is a pretty common special character. that people will use.
So like maker, hacker, exclamation.
Yeah, and exactly. And using the exclamation point at the end, you're not fooling anybody. So, just because you meet minimum requirements. Alright. Create passwords you can remember but are hard to guess. So, use a weird phrase to ultimately set up your password. So, in a land far, far away, there was a maker. Equals that password. Do you think you could probably guess that? Probably not. And really,
Dictionary attacks, man.
well, but dictionary attacks are also different. You got to be careful when you say dictionary attacks because there's two versions of dictionary attacks. There's this way, which is a lot harder to break,
Oh,
versus
sorry.
versus a true dictionary attack. So I'll get to the actually dictionary attacks. You jump in the gun. All right.
Maker hacker would be a good one to use a dictionary hack.
Yeah, you could easily break our passwords. So if anybody wants, to break in,
Or Wi-Fi.
or Wi-Fi, yeah, maker hacker, exclamation point. I'm not going to tell you which ones are capitalized. This is going on YouTube, so yeah. All right, so I'll get to 5 and 6. 5 and 6, we'll break it. We'll break it all out there. I did look too far away. I did. Okay, 4. Just because it's meant to be the minimum, doesn't mean it's strong. Just because I can't tell you how many sites I've been across that the minimum requirements don't require special characters. Like that absolutely baffles my mind. And 8-character passwords are not that secure anymore. With a lot of computers and the calculations and how fast things can be calculated, and social hacks and things like that, 8-character passwords really are not that secure anymore. So just because you met the minimum doesn't mean it's strong. Because at one point in time, ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4 probably was considered a strong password.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I have like 10 passwords to change now.
Now you can get in my bank account.
I only have one password change on 10 different sites.
Yeah, right. So, number 5, include numbers, capitals, and special characters. So, special characters, a lot of sites are starting to open up to handle more special characters beyond just, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the typical ones. So, obscurity adds security most of the time. Just because you're using special characters does not mean it's secure. Because exclamation points are an easy substitute for I's and L's. 7 is, 7 is T, yep. So, just because you're using certain things doesn't mean that it's actually, and somebody goes, oh, well, my number was 23, so I can remember, Michael Jordan's number, he's 23. So, I use the number 23, the number sign meant 23, yeah, you're not fooling anybody there either, because typically you append after a number, the number sign an actual number. And lots of times, when people are using jersey numbers and things like that in their passwords, the number sign is a typical prepender to an actual number. And guess what? I could probably go on, find that person, socially, stalk them, and figure out that at some point in time they said the number 23. And ultimately, I've now potentially socially hacked them. All right, number 6. Don't use dictionary words. All right, so if it's in the dictionary, there's a chance that somebody will guess it. So if we go back to my previous example, and I just be like, oh, hey, they allow 50-character passwords. So I'm just going to do it in the land far, far away. There was a maker. I'm just going to use that in my password. It's a super long password because it's really secure. No, it's not. Typically, dictionary words are the easiest way that, one of the easier ways that hackers can actually break you. So, dictionary words really aren't very recommended. Now, I'm sure that I could have somebody argue with me at some point on that. But don't use dictionary words. So, if you, really, honestly, to get to the most secure way you're going to have any password is really kind of going into my next point. Consider using a password manager. So myself, I use LastPass. I actually pay the $11 a year for LastPass, and I use it for everything. And if you look through if anybody has ever seen my passwords, I'll let you look at them. I don't care if you see them, because guess what? They are super long and they're random, totally random generated, and I can guarantee you, unless you have a photogenic memory, you're not going to remember it. So use a password manager. Other common one is RoboFarm. I haven't actually used it, but it's out there. Open source one is LessPass. Actually found this one last night. Yeah, this one's a newer one, and it's totally open source. You can actually host this password manager on your own server if you wanted to. And then another one that's actually kind of handy. I've played around with it a little bit on my Synology NAS, but if you have a Synology equipment, you can load their password manager app that they have on there. And if you do have a NAS, and this is kind of a big point to all of these, and I'll cover this at the end even more, but do make sure, even if it's a self-signed cert, do a self-signed cert on your NAS and make it SSL enabled, so HTTPS. Because if you're running on an unencrypted line, kind of like totally, so now everything's unencrypted, so if there is a man in the middle anywhere, they could potentially get, not to say they would get passwords, but it's a possibility if you're transferring data over a WAN network. So also you want to use multi-factor authentication. So at Caterpillar, the group I'm in, we handle the global directory. We also handle CWS, or what we call CWS login, but it's a web login. And then we also handle the service that's for multi-factor authentication. What multi-factor authentication is, it's ultimately using a separate device to ultimately do your authentication with. Do you guys all know what multi-factor authentication is? Okay.
Something you have, something you don't.
Yeah. So I listed some main sites. So ultimately what it does is you log in with my login authenticator. I send a web service call down to the multi-factor authentication site. So we'll just say it's, oh my gosh. Yeah, anyways, that multi-factor site, and really what they do is then they hold the infrastructure of sending the notification to the separate device, email, whatever. So, and then once you approve that, or enter in the code, obviously it notifies the site back saying, hey, they authorized this, let them in. Or they didn't authorize this, don't let them in. So common sites, so actually I don't know if anybody knew this, but Slack, you can actually do multi-factor authentication with our Slack. LastPass, Facebook, Dropbox, Evernote, PayPal, Steam, Amazon Web Service, and Google the rest. So trying to keep this short and sweet for you guys. Alright, so here's a couple sites I use to find some of this stuff. One other quick note, I want to make sure that everybody is aware of this. So, how many people look at the web addresses that they're visiting? Like, to the point where they're noticing if it's HTTP or HTTPS. So if you're ever coming, this is another big one too that I didn't have in here, and I actually, I'm making sure I highlight. Be very careful when sharing your personal information and creating accounts on non-SSL encrypted sites. Because if there is man in the middle, you totally just shared everything with whoever's in the middle. And especially like if you sat through what was it, the Wireshark that David Denny gave a presentation on. It is crazy the amount of stuff you can rip out of literally the requests. Especially if you do kind of like, really like a Wireshark. We did Wireshark almost showing like how a man in the middle would look, and they could grab pretty much anything and everything they wanted. So always make sure that if you are visiting sites, to make sure that it is, especially if you're sharing information, that it's SSL encrypted, so HTTPS. So always look in the top bar. So the easiest way in Chrome is if you look in the top corner, you'll see the little secure sign. That means that it is a secure site that you're visiting. So, any questions, comments?
I would not trust SSL at any multinational corporation.
Oh,
Especially
SSL? SSL is only as secure as.
Well, you get the lot. For example, CAT, if they want.
Oh,
If they want, they can spoof
Yep.
the in-between guy with IBM or Microsoft software.
Yeah, any major
And
company.
as far as you know, you're going to your bank and it's all secure. But they're decrypting it before it goes out and they're re-encrypting it.
Well, and then
Yeah,
on the
no
back
idea.
end, too, you could have you could be hitting a reverse proxy. So ultimately, you're going encrypted in, and then you're unencrypted on their internal traffic. A lot of companies do that because they don't want to mess with setting their application up with SSL and mess with managing the certs at that level. So they put it at a web-based level, and ultimately, if there was a man in the middle at that layer, they could pick you up too. So there's always ways around things, but general rule of thumb is always look for things to be secure. Don't openly share on an insecure website. But to your point, there could be a man in the middle on the inside of the company that's
And,
collecting things.
Yeah, all legal too.
Yeah, because you're accessing their network, and they have more than.
What they're doing is should be illegal, but they are taking the certificate and signing Microsoft signing a certificate that they can use for anybody inside to pretend to be anybody that they want.
Yep.
An actual signed certificate.
It's
Doesn't sound right, but
there's a lot of things that don't sound right in this world.
the last when I was there, they weren't doing it, but they had the capability of doing it.
Oh yeah, I don't think.
There's a way you can tell. You can look at the fingerprint.
Yeah, you can. I know there is.
And if it's different, you know they're doing it.
But for the most people, they won't know what to look for with that stuff, and I don't even know everything to look for in terms of the man in the middle stuff. So
No, that's one. The fingerprint's a big thing. You can go to a website, find out what the fingerprint is. Say for Google,
yeah,
go to Google. If that fingerprint doesn't come back, they're changing it in the middle.
yep. So any other questions? Comments?
You don't have to worry about this if you're a whistleblower for the government or dealing drugs out of Caterpillar.
Yeah.
What is the advantage of paying the little bit more for LastPass?
You can have it on. I know you can have it on multiple devices, and
Well, they changed that. It's free for multiple devices now.
oh, it is free.
The big advantage is it lets you share multiple.
Oh, that's a
lets you
new
share
one.
folders.
Yeah, and it lets you share to multiple people too. It never used to.
Yeah,
Because
so
I
that's
just
what you pay for now. It used to be if you wanted it on a mobile device, you had to pay $1 a month.
yeah
Now that's included.
I pay.
It's worth $12. It's worth $12 a year.
Yeah, it really is because like I use it for like even at work when I need a password, I use their password generator to generate me a random password, say for an application or for an account that I have, even within work. It's really nice. Plus, like I would say LastPass, like they're out of all of them that I've tried out, or even like I even had my own stuff on my phone, like for a while it was just behind another password. LastPass just overall has been just made it a lot easier on things. Plus they have the integrator into Chrome. So like you look up there, the little 3 dots there, that's my little Chrome extension. And they have it for Firefox too.
It works on Edge now through Microsoft Edge. Didn't
Okay.
take a while, but now it does. So what I use it for a lot too is when you get to be older and you're thinking about dying,
Yeah.
and your kids, I've got all these bank accounts and things all locked up with passwords. So it's real easy for me to share all my passwords with them. So in case anything happens to me, they have all that information.
Yep.
And on top of that, well, what I need to do since I have 2-factor authentication, I printed out a bunch of one-time passwords and I secure that in LastPass too, so they have access to that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
actually a good idea. So like I do the same thing with like my wife. She has access to this account, so like if I drop off the face of the earth, she can, because I manage the finances in my house, she can at least get into her bank accounts and stuff like that. I mean, granted, if I were to die, she'd be able to get into most of my stuff just because of my death record, but it's still, it's a hassle. It's a big hassle. I've seen.
Just show them this
Yeah.
your obituary in the Journal Star. They're like, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. There's no free pass lots of times with that. It's usually a giant pain in the ass.
So do you consider fingerprint identification as a good source, or is that kind of becoming out of date quickly?
So, fingerprint, I know that I've heard of things where fingerprint is and is not like as secure as they once thought, but it still is very well secured. I mean, they still say that really fingerprint is still one of the more secure ways to secure things down. Now, like I fingerprint my phone. I also have a backup password on it as well.
You have to, I mean, you can't rely on just a fingerprint.
Yeah, because
You
like
always have to have a password.
yeah, if I cut this finger off tomorrow, I'm not going to keep the dead finger around.
Well, it's still
See if it works.
It also gets like gunked up every once in a while anyway.
Well, yeah, like if you take a long shower and your fingers get really like pruned out, then yeah, like it'll be like there's some your fingers. My phone says my fingers.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So when I'm going to go commit a crime, I got to get my fingers all pretty so they
Officer, what? Why do you have?
These are the fingerprints of a 95-year-old man.
Yeah. They'll finger you when you like right at death. You'd be like, yeah, I take my fingerprints down.
I'll tell you what, fingerprint passwords.
Yeah.
This is how you change your password. That's literally how you have to do it.
So like I secure LastPass with my fingerprint.
I just started using LastPass, and it seems nice.
Yeah.
And it was able, because I pointed it at my Google Gmail, it started like going on and grabbing all my previous passwords and changing them on that.
Yeah, and that's another thing with LastPass that's awesome is like, and they'll notify you of a site that they do kind of have updates from. So like there was at one point I think like even like Amazon had some sort of breach of some sort, and even though it was totally minor, they said, hey, you should probably change your Amazon account, and literally allowed me through them to change my Amazon account password, which is scary and cool at the same
They
time.
have that much access.
Yeah, but I mean, I've never had problems. The problem is with any password manager, if they do get breached, obviously, but
All of your stuff is
typically how these places work is they use your master password to encrypt your password. So if they get breached, they have to have an unencrypted version of your password to ultimately unencrypt your other passwords. So there's kind of like a cross encryption.
They can't recover your password if you lose it.
Yeah,
It's on your, you'll have a copy of it on your computer locally that you can recover,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, maybe. And that's the thing is maybe. It's a
So I
maybe.
guarantee.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this: if LastPass dies tomorrow, there's a lot of sites that I don't have access to.
I found it easier to make or easily remember password for LastPass, but use multi-factor authentication to make it strong.
Yep. Yeah.
If you do both of them, you'll never remember the name of the password.
Ultimately, multi-factor adds a layer there that, as of right now, is very hard to mimic and hack. So multi-factor is always going to add an extra layer of safety to it. And so like I use multi-factor for anything and everything I possibly can.
Yeah. You know the way around that though, right?
How's that?
Social engineering. That's how
Oh yeah.
you call up Apple and you say, I forgot my password, or you I don't know what that is either.
Yeah.
And they used to give it to you if you gave them the last 4 digits of your credit card and your address.
Yeah.
Now they think they got a little tighter.
Yeah. Lots of the companies have gotten a lot tighter
They
with
just
that
reset.
stuff.
They would just reset your password. You call them up, pretend like
Yeah.
you lost.
Because they should not be storing your password in plain text at all.
No.
Usually it's in
Well, that's another thing. Yeah.
if a company still is able to give you your password, that's not good. Do not use them.
They can give you the
It should
hash.
all just be a hash,
It's
yeah.
a hash, but a lot of them are still using MD5 hashes, which can be cracked in like 2
Use a
seconds.
hash that's salted and peppered.
There you go, salted and